Dear students, now we will start with a new topic which is special theory of relativity. So let us put the heading special theory of relativity. Special theory of relativity. So in today's lecture we will discuss a few topics. So let us make a plan of those topics. First we will discuss frame of reference, and then second inertial and non-inertial frame of reference. Frame of reference. Then, uh, in very short, Galilean transformation, a background of Michelson-Morley experiment. Michelson-Morley experiment. And then postulates of special theory of relativity. Postulates of special theory of relativity. And then Lorentz transformation. Lorentz transformation. So these are some topics which we have to cover in this lecture. So let us start with the frame of reference. So you know that to identify the position or time of any object, we need a frame of reference. And the position or time or velocity or any physical quantity which we want to measure, it needs a specified frame of reference. If we change our frame of reference, then the value which we get for any physical property, that will also change. For example, suppose in two dimension, if we fix our frame of reference, a Cartesian frame of reference xy at this position with the origin O, and let us say this is a point P for which we want to see the coordinates, then the coordinates in this frame of reference, the coordinates will be, so let us say this is x1 and y1. The coordinates are of the point is x1 and y1, x1 y1. But if we change our frame of reference, and let us say now we have fixed this frame of reference here, so with o dash and x dash y dash, then the same point will give another coordinate. So this will be x1 dash and this will be y1 dash. It means that to specify the coordinates of any point, and not only coordinates, but if we are interested in finding the physical value or physical property of anything, then we must specify the frame of reference. So frame of reference has a very important role in measuring the physical quantities. In measuring the physical quantities. Measuring the physical quantities. So we need frame of reference. Now frame of reference may be inertial or non-inertial. So inertial frame of reference means means those frames are those frame of references in which the physical laws are valid. Those frame of references in which physical laws valid are valid. So these references these frame of references are non-accelerating. They may have are they are in rest. So these frame of references are either in rest or moving with constant velocity. Moving with constant velocity. With constant velocity. So any frame of reference which is moving with constant velocity is termed as inertial frame of reference. In this, now when we say that moving with constant velocity, then this constant velocity is relative to something, relative to some other frame of reference. Our earth is not an inertial frame of reference because earth is rotating and therefore there is some acceleration in the earth. So if we fix our frame of reference with the earth, then it will not be a inertial frame of reference. Then if we fix any other frame of reference with respect to the earth, taking the earth as a fix, and then if we locate our frame of reference with respect to earth, then again that will also be a non-inertial frame of reference because earth is a non-inertial frame of reference. So how one can choose a perfect inertial frame of reference? So there are some fixed stars in the space. Fixed stars in the space, and if we choose our frame of reference with respect to these fixed stars, then that frame of reference will be an inertial frame if it is at rest or if it is moving with a constant velocity. So all the frame of references which are moving with constant velocity with respect to a given inertial frame, that will also be a inertial frame of reference. And all other frame of references which are not moving with constant velocity, those which have some acceleration, they are non-inertial frame of reference. With acceleration, then it is called non-inertial frame of reference. So for the practical purpose, we can choose earth as inertial frame of reference, and actually it is not, but for our purpose we can choose earth as inertial frame of reference. Therefore if any frame of reference is fixed in the earth, on the earth, then that will be inertial. And if any other frame of reference is moving with constant velocity with respect to the earth, then that will also act like a inertial frame of reference. So now come to the next topic, which is the Galilean transformation. So with the Galilean transformation, if we have two frame of references, let us say S and S dash. So this is one frame of reference, three-dimensional, and another frame of reference. This is also three-dimensional frame of reference, but their x-axis are in the same direction. So let us say this is the x direction, y and z. This is S frame, and then we have another frame S dash, which have the same line of the x-axis as x dash, then y dash and z dash. Now S dash is moving with a constant velocity v with respect to S frame. So this is a fixed frame which is S, and S dash is another frame of reference which is moving with a constant velocity in the x dash direction with respect to S. So for this type of system, we can write the Galilean transformation, that is, we can correlate x y z coordinate with x dash y dash z dash coordinate. So any observation, let us say if it is a point P, then what will be the coordinate of the point P with respect to the S dash frame, that is x dash y dash z dash, and what is the coordinate of point P with respect to S frame, that will be x y z. So now we will correlate x y z with x dash y dash and z dash. And if we use Galilean transformation, then we have equation that x dash is equal to x minus vt, and y dash is equal to y, and z dash is equal to z, because there is no motion or no relative motion between in y and z direction, therefore their coordinates will remain as such. And if we transform this, or if we take the inverse transformation, then we can write that x is equal to x dash plus vt, because if we fix the S dash frame, then S frame is moving with the minus v velocity, in that is in the opposite direction, therefore here the v will become minus v, so it will be x dash plus vt. And similarly y is equal to y dash and z is equal to z dash. So this was Galilean transformation, but this was not very accurate, and therefore another transformation came, which is known as Lorentz transformation. Now before going to Lorentz transformation, let us come to the background of Michelson-Morley experiment. So in earlier days, it was said that the space is filled with a material known as ether. The space is filled with some material known as ether. Now this ether is very different from the chemical ether, which we know a chemical name ether. So this ether is very different, and this is like vacuum. Now we know that in the space there is vacuum, but in older days it was not known that there is a vacuum. So people said that the space is filled with some material, and that material was termed as ether, and this ether is at rest. Ether was at rest. So ether was at rest, and all the heavenly bodies were moving in the ether. So all the heavenly bodies, or all the bodies like Earth, was moving in the ether. So scientists wanted to calculate the relative motion between Earth and ether. So they were interested in calculating relative motion between Earth and ether. So for this purpose, several experiments were performed, but the famous experiment is Michelson-Morley experiment. This is a famous experiment, Michelson-Morley experiment. Michelson-Morley experiment. In this experiment, uh, two signals, two signals of light was sent in opposite direction, in opposite direction, in opposite direction. And it was said that the speed of the light will change as c is equal to c minus v, or c is equal to c dash will be c plus v. If it is in the direction of earth, in direction of earth, direction of earth motion, and in opposite direction of earth motion. So the signal which is moving in the direction of earth motion, that will take longer time. It will take longer time, and this will take shorter time. And then these two beams were allowed to interfere. Two beams were allowed to interfere. Were allowed to interfere. Allowed to interfere. Using this concept, scientists calculated that the because of interfere, the fringe pattern will shift. Fringe pattern will shift because of the motion in the opposite direction. The fringe pattern will shift by 0.4. So this was the calculation. This was the calculation on the basis of the hypothesis that one light beam will have the velocity c minus v and another will have the velocity c plus v. So on that basis they calculated that there should be a fringe shift, and that shift is by 0.4. But in reality, with experiment, no fringe shift was recorded. No fringe shift was recorded. However, the experimental setup was although the experimental setup was very accurate, but that setup could not record or could not observe any fringe shift. So different theories were given by scientists that why did they not observe the fringe shift, but theory which was put forward by Einstein, and he said that the constancy of light beam speed. So Einstein said that there is no relative motion for the velocity of light. There is no relative motion for the speed of light. Speed of light c will remain constant. In all the frame of reference in free space. So we cannot write as c dash is equal to c minus v and c dash is equal to c plus v. C dash will remain as c. So this was put forward by Einstein, and if this hypothesis was accepted, when this hypothesis was accepted, then no fringe shift was calculated, and therefore in this manner the experimental observation was explained by the scientist. So by the Einstein. So this was the Michelson-Morley experiment, and the main feature or main finding of the Michelson-Morley experiment is that the light speed will is remain constant. So speed of light is constant. Of light is constant. Is constant in free space. In free space. So this is the finding of Michelson-Morley experiment. This is the finding of Michelson-Morley experiment. And after this, Einstein gave the special theory of relativity, and he put forward two postulates. So the first postulate of special theory of relativity is, first postulate is the invariance of physical laws. Physical laws, invariance of physical laws in inertial frame of reference. In inertial frame of reference, it means that in all the inertial frame of reference, the physical laws are valid and they will be similar in all the inertial frame of reference. So we can write that physical laws are valid and similar in all the inertial frame of references. All the inertial frame of reference. In all the inertial frame of reference. So this is the first postulate. The simple meaning is that all the inertial frame of references are equivalent to each other. So if we are deriving some equations or some physical laws in one inertial frame of reference, then that law is also valid in another inertial frame of reference. So all the inertial frame of references are equivalent to each other. So this is the meaning of first postulate. Now come to the second postulate. Second postulate, this is the constancy of speed of light. Speed of light. This we have already discussed, that the speed of light will remain constant as c in the free space in all the inertial frame of reference. The speed of light is constant and equal to c. C means 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. The speed of light is constant and equal to c in free space in all the inertial frame of references. Inertial frame of references. So these are two postulates of the special theory of relativity. So let us start with the Lorentz transformation and put the heading Lorentz transformation. So again we assume that there are two frame of references, S and S dash. So this is one frame of reference, S, where the coordinates are X, Y and Z. Then we have another frame of reference moving in the same X direction. So the coordinate X dash is in is along the x-axis. So x dash, y dash and z dash. And this is s dash frame. This s dash frame is moving with a constant velocity v in x direction with respect to s frame. So for this type of two frame of references, these two are inertial frame of reference, we can write the transformation as x dash is equal to some constant k into x minus vt. So in the Galilean transformation, we had directly written x dash is equal to x minus vt, but in Lorentz transformation, there will be some constant of proportionality which is k. And at this moment, we don't know the value of k, but we are writing it as k, and afterwards we will calculate what is the value of k. So there is again a linear relation between x dash and x, and that linear relation is when changed into equality, then there is a constant k. And because there is no relative motion in y and z direction, therefore y dash is equal to y and z dash is equal to z. So if there is a point P, then the coordinates of point P as observed by the frame of reference S dash is given as x dash, y dash, z dash, and the coordinates of P with respect to S frame are given by x, y, z. So this is the relation between x dash, y dash, z dash with x, y, z. Now on the same pattern, we can write the inverse relation. So inverse relation means x is equal to the same constant k and then x plus vt, and y is equal to x dash and t dash, and y is equal to y dash and z is equal to z dash. So these are the inverse relation for the Lorentz transformation. If s dash frame is moving with respect to s with the velocity v in positive x direction, then the S frame is moving in minus V with the velocity minus V with respect to S dash frame. Therefore, in the inverse relation, we will substitute, instead of V, we will substitute minus V. So it will be X dash plus Vt dash. And there is no relative motion in Y and Z direction. Therefore, it will remain as such. Now we have to find out the value of K. For this, we will proceed as X is equal to, we will proceed with this equation. So x is equal to k, and then the value of x dash, the value of x dash is k into x minus vt plus vt dash plus vt dash. So with this condition, let us proceed. So x is equal to k square x minus k square vt plus kvt dash. And if we transfer this term on the left hand side, then x into 1 minus k square is equal to kvt dash minus k square vt, or this kvt dash is equal to x into 1 minus k square plus k square vt. So t dash is equal to 1 minus k square upon kv into x plus kt. So this is one equation, that t dash is equal to kt plus 1 minus k square upon kv. So this is one relation. Now to proceed further, we will assume the second postulate of special theory of relativity. Suppose there is a light signal which is moving, then for the light signal, in both the frame of reference, the speed will remain c. So we can write for the S frame, x is equal to ct, and for the S dash frame, again we can write x dash is equal to ct dash, because the speed of light is constant in all the inertial frame of reference. Therefore, with respect to S frame, x is equal to ct, where x is the distance traveled in time t, and the same distance as seen by S dash frame is x dash, and the same time t as seen by S dash frame is t dash. So these two relations are also valid, and now we will make use of these two relations. So here we can substitute, we can take this equation x dash is equal to ct dash, and then we will substitute the value of x dash using this equation and the value of t dash using this equation. So let us proceed with the equation x dash is equal to ct dash. So we have equation x dash is equal to ct dash, and now here we have to put the value of x dash. So value of x dash is equal to, using the previous equation, x dash is equal to k into x minus vt. This is the value of x dash into c, and then value of t dash, which is just which we have calculated just. So t dash is kt plus 1 minus k square upon kv into x. Now again let us do some manipulation, mathematical manipulation. So kx minus kvt is equal to cket plus 1 minus k square upon kv into cx. So again we will transfer all the x value on one side, then it will be transferring x on one side, so it will be x into k minus 1 minus k square upon kv into c, and on the other side it will be ck plus kv into t, ck plus kv into t. So this is the value of x into something is equal to something into t. Now we have another equation which is x is equal to ct. We have one more relation, that x is equal to ct. So x by t is equal to c, and from here we will find x by t, and then we will equate that factor to c. So let us do that. So x by t, so ck plus kv divided by k minus 1 minus k square upon kv into c is equal to c. So this is the equation. Then we have ck plus kv is equal to ck minus c square into 1 minus k square upon kv. These are simple mathematics. So ck and ck get cancelled. So let us cancel this ck and ck and ck. Then we have kv is equal to minus c square. So taking minus side inside, then it will become c square into k square minus 1 divided by kv, or it will be k square v square is equal to c square k square minus 1. We have to find out the value of k. So take all the k terms on one side. So again it will be k square v square is equal to c square k square minus c square. So taking k square on one side, it will be k square into c square minus v square. Bring this term on this side. So k square c square minus v square is equal to plus c square, or k square is equal to c square divided by c square minus v square. Or dividing it by c square, it will be 1 upon Dividing numerator and denominator by c square, it will be 1 upon 1 minus v square by c square. So this is the value of k square. Therefore, k is equal to 1 upon under root 1 minus v square by c square. So this is the value of k. So let me write it here separately. Now in Lorentz transformation, we have to also find the value of t dash. So we have calculated the value of k. Now we will proceed to find the value of t dash. So we have the value of t dash as t dash is equal to kt plus 1 minus k square upon kv into x. This is the previous equation which we have already derived. Now in this equation we have to substitute the value of k. So let us do this. So t dash is equal to taking k common, then it will become t plus 1 minus k square upon k square v into x, or this is equal to k into t plus, instead of plus now we can write it here minus, and then within bracket it will be k square minus 1 upon k square v into x. Then this will be k into t minus, so let us substitute the value of k square minus 1. K square minus 1 is, k square is 1 upon 1 minus b square by c square, then minus 1 divided by k square, which is 1 upon 1 minus b square by c square, and then there will be x by v. So this is equal to k, and then t minus 1 minus 1 plus b square by c square, and then this whole multiplied by x by v. So this minus 1 and plus 1 get cancelled, and we are left with t dash is equal to k into t minus xv by c square. So this 1v will get cancelled with v square. So we have xv by c square with a negative sign. So t dash is equal to t minus xv upon c square, and then let us substitute the value of k. So it will be t minus xv by c square and divided by under root 1 minus v square by c square. So this is the value of t dash. So in this way now we have derived x dash, y dash, z dash and t dash. So let us summarize all these values for the Lorentz transformation. So for Lorentz transformation we have Lorentz transformation final values are x dash is equal to x minus vt divided by under root 1 minus v square by c square, and then y dash is equal to y, z dash is equal to z, and then t dash is equal to t minus xv by c square divided by under root 1 minus v square by c square. And in a similar way, we can write the inverse transformation. So for inverse transformation, x is equal to x dash plus vt. When we write the inverse transformation, then we have to put, instead of v, we will write minus v, because if we take s dash frame as a rest, in a rest, then s frame is moving in a negative direction, negative x direction, with the same velocity. So v will be now minus v, and because here it is v square, so it will remain as such, 1 minus v square by c square, and then y is equal to y dash, and then z is equal to z dash, and then t is equal to t dash plus, it here again it will be plus x dash v divided by c square, and this whole divided by under root 1 minus v square by c square, this whole divided by 1 minus v square by c square. So these are the values, and from this value we can see that uh, if v is equal to c, if v becomes equal to c, then it will be 1 minus 1 0, means the time will become infinite, or here x will become infinite. Therefore v cannot be equal to c, it will be less than c. And if v is more than c, if velocity of any object is more than the speed of light, then what will happen, this will become imaginary number. This will be imaginary number, means x is imaginary, t will become imaginary. So these imaginary numbers are not possible in real world. Therefore v cannot be more than c, we cannot be more than c, and we cannot be equal to c. But in all the cases v is always less than the speed of light in free space. So this is the condition, and this is all about the Lorentz transformation. Now in the next lecture, we will proceed to apply the Lorentz transformation on the length contraction, on the time dilation, and for deriving the mass energy relationship. So let us stop here, and then we will proceed further in our next lecture.